FIFA just put 5 World Cup champions on trial for their careers, and Lionel Messi's entire generation of Argentina is about to find out if 2030 happens without them. Right now, in Zurich, there's a disciplinary file with 5 names on it: Paredes, Molina, Ayala, Almada, Fernandez. 3 counts of assault on one man alone, and buried in the fine print is a detail almost nobody has said out loud yet. This isn't a fine, it isn't a slap on the wrist, it's the opening move in a case that could keep Argentina's core off the pitch at the one World Cup they don't even have to qualify for, because they're co-hosting it. What you're about to hear is not a rumor, and it's not a leak. It's what's actually written, word for word, in the document FIFA published. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand something almost nobody has explained properly. This isn't really about a punch. It's about a piece of paper, a stadium in Atlanta, and a decision that has almost nothing to do with what happened on the pitch. Stay with me, because there's a video most broadcasters never aired. There's a quote from a former advisor to Margaret Thatcher that's about to become very relevant again. And there's a name, Gavi, sitting in the exact same file as Leandro Paredes, facing the exact same article of the same code that almost nobody is talking about. Why? If you think you already know this story, I promise you don't. Not yet. Let's go minute by minute. July 15th, 2026. Atlanta. This is where the fuse gets lit. Argentina beats England 2-1 in the World Cup semi-final. Enzo Fernandez bending in an equalizer, Lautaro Martinez finishing it late. Wild celebrations. And in the middle of the noise, 15 seconds happen that FIFA will still be writing about 2 weeks later. A banner drops out of the stands. 4 words. Las Malvinas son Argentinas. The Falklands are Argentine. Giovanni Lo Celso snatches it up first. Lisandro Martinez and Christian Romero close in on either side of him. Nicolas Otamendi right behind. Nobody smuggled this in. It came from a fan in the crowd. But that distinction is about to get lost in the noise of what happens next. Article 13 of FIFA's disciplinary code is unambiguous. No using a match for non-sporting demonstrations. Within hours, this stops being a football story. Niall Gardner, once an aide to Margaret Thatcher herself, comes out swinging, demanding every Argentine Premier League player who touched that banner lose his UK work visa on the spot. UK Business Secretary Peter Kyle calls it entirely inappropriate. Legal experts scramble to pour cold water on the visa threat. A banner alone almost certainly doesn't meet the bar under UK immigration law. But it's too late. The temperature's already spiked, and FIFA is watching every second of it. 4 days later, East Rutherford, New Jersey, the final. This is where it stops being a controversy and becomes a case file. Spain doesn't just beat Argentina, they suffocate them. 20 shots to 2, 12 on target to 0. The only thing keeping Argentina in this match is Emiliano Martinez, standing on his head, setting a World Cup final save record, just to keep the scoreline alive. In the 90th minute, Enzo Fernandez goes into Pau Cubarsí with a challenge that has no business happening in a World Cup final. Second yellow, red card, 10 men, extra time looming, and Argentina running on fumes. They hold. Barely. Then, in the 106th minute, Nico Williams heads a ball down at the far post. Ferran Torres buries it, and Spain are world champions for the second time. That's the moment the broadcast cuts to wide shots and highlight reels. And that's exactly the moment it misses everything that actually matters. Rodri, Spain's captain, jogs from the bench to join the celebration. As he crosses the pitch, Nahuel Molina hits him, not in the official feed. A secondary camera angle catches it, and it's ugly. Rodri spins around. Eric Garcia shoves Molina, and then Leandro Paredes doesn't step in to calm it down. He grabs Garcia by the throat. Seconds later, he sends Gavi to the ground. Argentina's own assistant coach, Roberto Ayala, throws a punch at Dani Olmo. Otamendi refuses to even shake Rodri's hand. Meanwhile, 19-year-old Lamine Yamal, a world champion 3 minutes earlier, walks straight through the chaos to embrace Lionel Scaloni. One frame. That's all it takes to see exactly where each team's head was. Ayala later tries to walk it back, calling it more of a push than anything, and offering an apology. Olmo doesn't accept it. Here's the part that should actually be the headline, and almost nobody's running it. This is not the first time, it's the fourth. Qatar 2022, Quarterfinal against the Netherlands. 17 Argentine players and staff carded in one night. FIFA opens a case, and it ends in a fine. No suspensions. After the 2022 final, fined again for the chaos in the mixed zone. Earlier in this very tournament, after the Egypt game, players filmed singing Falklands referencing chants in the locker room. England files a formal complaint. FIFA closes the case. No sanction at all. 3 strikes. 0 individual consequences. Every single time the message got a little louder, nothing happens. And then came the 4th incident, and this time, everything happens at once. On July 31st, FIFA's disciplinary committee dropped the document that changes everything. Leandro Paredes, 3 separate counts of assault under Article 14, paragraph 1 tie, 1 for Garcia, 1 attempted and 1 completed against Gavi. Nahuel Molina, 2 counts of assault, 1 completed, 1 attempted, plus a 3rd count for unsporting behavior. Roberto Ayala, 1 count of assault. Thiago Almada, unsporting behavior. And the Argentine Football Association itself is now under investigation on 6 separate articles at once. The banner, the chants, the security failures, the brawl. 6 articles, 1 federation. That has never happened to Argentina before. Here's what almost nobody is saying out loud. Argentina isn't just playing in the 2030 World Cup. They're co-hosting it. They don't need to qualify, which means there's no dodging this by having a quiet tournament cycle. If suspensions land, the ban will be sitting there waiting for them at their own party. Paredes will be 29 in 2030, Molina, 27, Enzo Fernandez, 25. Their prime years, erased from the one tournament they helped bring to their own soil. And here's where I need you to actually pay attention, because this is the part of the story everyone's skipping past. Gavi, Spain's own midfielder, named in the exact same disciplinary document, charged under the exact same Article 14, for unsporting behavior in the exact same brawl. 1 referee, Slavko Vincic, 1 angle of footage, 1 30-second window of chaos on 1 patch of grass, and yet his name barely registered a headline outside Spain, while 5 Argentine names have owned the football press for 2 straight weeks. Now, could that gap be justified? Sure, maybe. 1 count of unsporting conduct is not the same as 3 counts of assault, and I'm not going to pretend this is a perfectly symmetrical case just because it makes a better story. But here's what isn't justified. A fan base reading Argentina's shame in headline after headline for 2 weeks, without a single one of those outlets bothering to mention that Spain has a player in the exact same file. That's not journalism reporting the facts as they stand. That's journalism picking the villain before the case is even decided. And there's a second thing that got buried entirely. A fan's video from Atlanta, surfacing days after the banner story exploded, shows unmistakably the banner falling from the stands into Argentine hands. Not smuggled in, not staged, not planned. It doesn't erase the violation. Displaying it still breaks Article 13, full stop, no argument. But it guts the premeditated stunt narrative that dominated an entire week of coverage before that footage ever surfaced. And it barely traveled outside Argentine media. Ask yourself why. So where does this actually land? None of these 5 are suspended yet. Let's be crystal clear about that. What exists right now is formal charges. But formal charges, in FIFA's own recent history, have led to suspensions far more often than they've led to acquittals. The AFA will almost certainly appeal whatever comes down, and the Court of Arbitration for Sport could still overturn or soften it. But if you're sitting there hoping FIFA quietly clears 5 players who assaulted opponents on camera at a World Cup final, in a case a foreign government has been publicly pushing for weeks, don't hold your breath. That's not how this ends. The real question was never whether Paredes had his hand around Eric Garcia's throat. The video already answered that. The real question is why the same disciplinary code, the same footage, and the same 30 seconds of chaos are producing 2 completely different stories in the press, depending on which shirt you were wearing when the whistle blew. If this gave you something the headlines didn't, smash that like button so the algorithm shoves this in front of more people who need to see it. Subscribe, turn on notifications, because the second FIFA's actual ruling lands, and the second CAS responds to the appeal that's almost certainly coming, we will be the first channel breaking it down, piece by piece. And I want to know right now, in the comments, culpable or scapegoat? Pick one. This is Nexo Futbolero, where football gets told the way it's actually lived.